Okay, we'll get started. It's 2 minutes after 1. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. For our webinar. We're very excited to roll out our partnership with Tooling U today. I'm Carol Miller. I'm the Executive Director at AMT, and I'll be today's moderator. The webinar will be recorded, and a link to the webinar will be available on our website at amt-mep.org. So if you have any questions anytime during the session, please feel free to use the chat function on the webinar screen and the Zoom. You can type in your question. I will monitor the questions and submit them to the speakers to answer. Please feel free to ask them at any time, and we would like to address them as we go throughout the presentation as well as at the end. So today we have with us Greg Sturtman from Tooling U. Greg is a senior workforce education strategist and has an abundance of experience in working with MEPs like AMT and assisting small to mid-sized manufacturers with training needs. We've been working together since the summer in preparation for rolling out this service as well as for today's webinar. Also, I have with me today Wayne Smith from AMT. Wayne is a principal consultant. He joined us this summer. He was a much needed addition to AMT. Having him on board has allowed us to make a priority out of resolving workforce issues. Wayne has extensive business experience as well as a specialty in human resources and setting up successful training programs. Our agenda will include a case for training and development that Wayne will present, as well as a recipe for success. Then we will do an intro to Tooling U-SME, which Greg will take care of, and talk about next steps. First, I will give a short overview of AMT. And in fact, if any of you know us, we've lost our ampersand. We are now AMT. We are no longer, we did some rebranding recently. We haven't formally rolled it out, but it's also very hard to say. It's hard to leave it out, but we are now AMT, the Alliance for Manufacturing and Technology. It doesn't change anything legal. It only is a graphical representation. So about AMT, I see it's hard to lose that ampersand. So we're a private not-for-profit organization. We were established in 1988. We are part of the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute here or two. We're a group of experienced professionals. We have an abundance of experience in working with small to mid-sized manufacturing companies in the Southern Tier. We offer end-to-end business and technical services to help companies plan, perform, profit, and grow. We also, as part of our mission, is we connect to resources that are available at a local, regional, and national level. And one of our priorities is to provide economic impact to our region, which I'll share some statistics at the end of my overview. And Wayne, if you could watch the waiting room, that would be very helpful, because I just almost left Austin in there for quite a while. So our team, I just wanted to review our team a little bit today. For the folks that are familiar with AMT, we've had a number of changes over the last couple of years, as well as for the folks that have not worked with us before, I'd like us to be familiar faces. Jeff Dubrava, who is our Director of Client Services, had joined the organization a couple of years ago, all around great guy. He should have been with us today, but we had an unfortunate event and he will not be with us this afternoon. We have Tom Enderby, who is a principal consultant and a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt. We have Amanda Jackson, who just is our most newest addition, and Amanda is also a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt and has a tremendous amount of industry experience. We have Glenn New, who's a principal consultant, as well as Wayne Smith, who you'll meet today, and Kathy Peacock, who's been with us for over 25 years now. But this is our current team, and we're moving forward in new directions with AMT. As I said, we're part of the MEP network. The New York MEP is made up of 10 regional centers and one statewide center called Fuse Hub. And AMT serves the 8 counties in the southern tier, from Delaware to Shenango to Broome, Tioga, Tompkins, Chemung, Steuben, and Schuyler. There's over 800 manufacturing companies in that region, and we want to work with as many as possible to help them be more productive and profitable. We're part of a nationwide network. There's over 51 centers across the country. There's one in every state, as well as Puerto Rico. So we have close connections with the NIST MEP centers, and therefore we can make some really great referrals. We've been doing a lot of work in supply chain, which is something new for us as well. So please take advantage of our network to help you resolve some of your issues. We have a singular mission in the national program of helping companies be more productive and increase their technology performance, and have expanded the services of the nationwide program as well as AMT's program to do that. The end-to-end business services that we're offering, we offer services in growth and innovation, having to do with strategic planning, sales and marketing, export, new product development. We have a number of services for people development, some of the things we'll be talking about today. Also operational excellence, that's been a mainstay of AM&T for decades. Our quality management services, as well as our Lean Six Sigma and continuous improvement programs, as well as information technology. And we have many more. We continue to add services, market-driven services based on input from our manufacturers. We have partnerships within the regions, whether that's the economic development folks or whether that's colleges or universities or other professional associations. We also are connecting people with grant opportunities. Those vary based on location and type of project, but there's a number of wonderful grants that are available for training and consulting work, including the topics that we'll be talking about today. As far as our report card goes, we have been, in the last 5 years, we've had over $750 million of economic impact in our region. And the way that that is measured is every project that we do 6 to 12 months after it's completed, the client gets surveyed by an independent third party to address what their impact was, whether that was an increase or retention in sales or an increase or retention of employees, cost savings, cost avoidance, any of those measures that against how we're judged as a center. And we're very proud of that, and we hope to continue that for many years into the future. So that's enough about AM&T. And I'm going to turn it over to Wayne to talk about why the training approach that we've identified makes sense and what's the business case behind that. So Wayne, if you would please.
Thank you, Carol. Good afternoon, everyone. Like Carol said, we want to just take a moment to talk a bit about why training and development is so important, especially for attraction and retention, and why this approach makes sense for your organization. Right now, there are 500,000 open manufacturing jobs in the U.S. That is expected to multiply 5 times by 2028. Right now, there are 3,000 open manufacturing jobs in the southern tier. That is probably a very conservative number, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next slide, why that is such a conservative number. 70% of employees would be somewhat likely to leave their current job to work for an organization known for investing in employee development and learning. 34% of employees who left their previous job were motivated to do so by more career development opportunities. This one is a big number. 86% of millennials would be kept from leaving their current position if training and development were offered by their employer. Over 70% of high retention risk employees, these are your high performers, will leave their company in order to advance their career. Retention rates go up 30 to 50% for companies with strong learning cultures. And for those of you that are in the compliance arena, you may recognize the 7.2 subsection of the ISO standard, which says that you must ensure competency based on education, training, and experience. As mentioned, we talked about the open positions in the southern tier. There is that number we've heard between 3,000 and 4,000 over the last several weeks. As you look at the right side of this of the presentation, you will recognize that most of these positions, these are production workers, manufacturing machine operators. I'm not going to go through each one, but these are probably the positions you're dealing with on a daily basis. If you look down right above the Burning Glass logo, you will see where it says the actual number of postings are likely higher due to multiple openings for the same posting. So if you have 10 production operator positions that are open and you posted those, that gets counted as one. It doesn't get counted as 10. So that's why that number of 3,000 is probably very conservative when you're looking at open positions in the southern tier. And then lastly, before we turn it over to Greg, is the road to successful program implementation. Anybody can implement a training and development program. We know that some of them are very successful and some of them are not. But the logical steps for implementation is a needs assessment, which includes the organization's goals, a review of the organization's goals, gaps between current and desired training. When you get to the design and development of your customized program, you can look at self-directed and blended learning and get stakeholder input. And one thing that AMT is able and willing to help with here is any roadblocks around technology. If there are no opportunities to set up kiosks in your current work environment, we have some mobile solutions for that. So next steps, that is something that you can inquire about. Then the fourth step would be the implementation period. We would put together a pilot. Of course, we would use the plan, do, check, act methodology here, make revisions if needed. And then ultimately, you will want to have an evaluation of some kind where you have KPIs where you can determine whether the program achieved the objectives. And if you got a return on the investment, if you met the expectations that you had when you came into the program. So we've talked a little bit about the why and the how, and I want to turn it over to Greg Sturtman to talk about the what Tooling U is and what it can bring to your organization. So Greg, it's all you.
Thanks, Wayne. I want to thank Wayne and Carol for having me today, and it's a privilege to be able to spend a little bit of time today talking with you about the launch of our new partnership with AMT. I'm a senior workforce education strategist with Tooling U-SME. That's kind of a fancy title for a person who partners with our MEP network. I'm actually responsible for 21 states across the United States. So I'm really excited about getting going in the state of New York to be able to support the manufacturers better, specifically in the southern tier. We are part of a bigger organization called SME. Matter of fact, we're one of 5 business units of SME, and I briefly want to mention the other 4 before I dive into the Tooling U part of it. So the other 4 is we have our events group. In a non-COVID year, we typically have somewhere between 9 and 11 events across North America. These are the biggest manufacturing showcases that you'll see not only in North America, but in the world. Our most known event is probably FabTech, which typically draws north of 50,000 people over the course of a week. There's only 3 centers in the United States that actually can handle us due to size. And that's Chicago, the McCormick Center, Atlanta, and Las Vegas, which are all pretty cool places to go to. But if you haven't been to that event yet, it's it's a great experience just to walk on out to that floor and see the latest and greatest in technology and manufacturing with your own eyes as far as the eye can see. Pretty cool. We have our media group, which is our publication group that puts out various publication on what the latest and greatest things that are happening in manufacturing across North America. Our most known publication is Manufacturing Engineering Magazine, which has over 90,000 subscribers. We have our membership group, which is a series of both professional and student-led member groups across the United States. All 50 states and Puerto Rico have them. In the state of New York, we have 4 professional chapters in Buffalo, Long Island, Syracuse, and Westchester. And then we also have 6 student chapters, which are typically led by either universities or community colleges. I know 4 of those 6 are part of the SUNY system. And then last but not least, we have our Education Foundation. And their mission is simply to get the youth in America more engaged in STEM-related careers. One of the big things that they do is they do fundraising for our scholarship initiative, our Education Foundation. We typically give out around 400 scholarships a year with an average award of about $2,500 each. And that's not only for university students, it's for community college students who are pursuing degrees and certificates like machining, maintenance technology, welders, robotics, and automation. So those are the other 4 groups. Then we have Tooling U-SME, which is the group that I'm part of. So we work with lots of different stakeholders across the United States. We work with over 5,000 manufacturers directly that include over half of your Fortune 500 employers. So that's your Caterpillars, Boeings, Eatons of the world. But we also support, your 25-person machine shop out in the rural areas and everyone in between. And so we also support our workforce partner network with over 800 academic institutions that include universities, which is usually supporting some of their engineering programs, community and technical colleges, and a lot of technical specific high schools offer programs like welding, machining, maintenance, technology. Over the past 3 years, we've had a focus on aligning with the MEP network across America, which is which makes a lot of sense for us because at the end of the day, we exist to support the manufacturing sector across the United States. So our mission is very much in alignment, which is kind of why they created my position, which is exclusively to support the MEPs and some community colleges who want to support the manufacturers across America. So that's why I'm here with AMT. And I'm looking forward to talking with you a little bit about how we can help you guys. So Tooling U is most known for its online training. We do some other things, but 90% of what we do at Tooling U is the production of online content. And so right now we have over 550 courses. Actually, last I checked was a couple of days ago, we had 565 to be exact. And we like to organize our courses around different functional areas aligned to the manufacturing side. So I don't need to read these off to you, but these are the main areas that we support. Towards the end of this presentation, AM and T, I got to stop using the N side in that too. But AMT will show you what this looks like on their landing page. And then next slide, please. We're constantly developing and releasing new courses. And so that's really important because, in the manufacturing sector, especially as these new technologies are involved, what we've been using as recent as a couple of years ago, we may not be using today. So Tooling U is a staff of about 90 employees, and about a third of our staff, which is somewhere in the 25 to 30 range, they're designers and developers. So they wake up every day. Their job is to improve previous versions of our courses or to produce brand new content. And right now, that team is very busy focusing on a couple of Department of Defense grants that we got to develop new curriculum. Most of that curriculum is in the space of what everyone's calling smart manufacturing or Industry 4.0. So it's courses around additive and cyber and AI, Internet of Things, robotics, big data. And then starting April of next year, we're going to start releasing our new augmented virtual reality labs, which means for you gamers out there, or for your folks who have sons and daughters who are gamers, they're going to be able to learn that way. We're going to ask them to perform specific tasks and learn the new concepts and knowledge that they just gained, and actually see if they can perform them in a virtual reality environment. And we're going to score them on there on to see how they did. So we're really excited about that. We're going to be releasing our first set of labs, which is going to be 4 of them in April of 2022. Next slide. So I mentioned we had like 565 courses, and each one of those course titles is about a 1-hour learning experience. It starts with the pre-assessment. So we're going to ask them 12 or 13 questions on how much they know about that specific topic. Obviously, if they don't know a lot about it, I wouldn't expect that they would score well. After you're done with the assessment, regardless of your score, it's going to launch into the actual course, which is a combination of audio, video, text, simulation, and quizzes. And it's a fairly interactive experience that culminates in a final exam, where again, we're going to ask you a series of questions around your knowledge. And if you do the pre and the post, those scores are captured in the learning management system, which you all will have access to on the back end, see how your employees are doing and scoring. And we're able to capture their performance against that 1-hour learning experience. And when we add those virtual learning labs next year, we'll be able to capture their performance on that, on those lab exercises as well. So that was the user experience. So that's the front end. On the back end is where, I suspect if you're going to want 10 of your employees using this system in some way, shape, or form, there's probably someone at your company that's going to have some interest in knowing how your employees are doing and performing, so that you could really talk about how much you're moving the needle on the knowledge gain, and then ultimately how that's going to impact their performance out there on the shop floor. So you'll have administrative access where you're going to be able to do things like change permissions and controls, create group accounts, create custom programs, and then slice and dice that data that's exportable to Excel any way you want it. Individual, for class, for a comprehensive report for your employees. They will have access to print and view a certificate of completion for every single class. And then you'll be able to print them all as an administrator on the back end. There's all sorts of things that you can do with that. So this is a really important slide because this really answers the question, how is a manufacturer leveraging online learning to benefit their organization? And so I've put, based on my experience, it's been in 6 different buckets. And so my hope is that you can resonate with one or more of these areas as you think about how you can apply online learning to your employees across your organization. Number 1 is onboarding new employees. What's happening, think about what's happening right now. Most of you are probably looking for entry-level talent, that production associate, that assembler, that entry-level maintenance tech. And some of you are probably hiring them out of different sectors, like, for example, hospitality, retail, where they have little to no experience about manufacturing. and you're going to need to onboard them somehow. So we have a nice series of courses that gets them up to speed on things like safety, applied math, and a lot of courses that are entry-level courses across several areas. It really helps them hit the ground running in that first 30 to 60 days. Number two is just to have custom online learning packages. I mentioned we had 565 classes.
I lost audio. Can anybody hear Greg?
I can hear Greg. Can we get
Yeah,
another
so I'm-
confirmation? Amanda, can you hear Greg?
I can hear him.
I can hear Greg.
Thank you.
Okay, great. The level of customization and flexibility around building custom programs is really off the charts with our program. You can pull together any combination of 565 classes right now to address folks at various skill levels and across several different departments at your plant. So whether it's your quality group, your assemblers, your maintenance technicians, your machinists, or even your engineers. And whether they're brand new to the department or you have a tool and die maker that's been around for 25 years. We'll be able to find content that's appropriate for your staff. And you have the ultimate flexibility on cherry picking individual courses across several functional areas so that you can come up with the right combination of courses for each employee. There's also that blended or hybrid delivery. You may have a training program or a mentoring program at your plant right now. And by providing a subscription to your employees, it's a very nice supplement that to combine with the activities you may have already been going on there at your plant, even from a mentoring perspective. It's very popular for compliance training. For example, if you need every single member of your company to complete an OSHA 101 class, or we did release what we call our COVID class, which is all about cleanliness in the workplace. That's been popular to mandate across all employees. It's a great system to be able to roll that out, to know that all of your employees have completed that 1 hour module. It's good for apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships. If you happen to have apprenticeships like welders or machinists or maintenance technicians, many of our courses will meet that need for that, what they call RTI, related technical instruction, which is mandatory for apprenticeships in the state of New York. And then if you want to have your employees achieve various industry certifications like NIMS on the machining side or MSSC, or even some of our own SME certifications, our courses align nicely to help your employees pass those industry specific exams. So those are just a handful of ways on how a manufacturer would leverage online learning. I did mention certification, so I wanted to throw out a lot of the certification credentialing bodies that we align to. Next slide. I wanted to show you, this is one of the SME certifications called the Certified Manufacturing Associate, which is a fairly new certification of ours. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this one is we feel this is a very nice curriculum track for that new employee that you hired that has little to no experience in manufacturing. You want to get them really going and up to speed in their first 30 to 60 days. You can kind of kill two birds with one stone with having them take these courses as well as sitting for the credentialing exam.
This is probably one of them that we are most excited about to bring to the market, is because we see a real need for this in many manufacturers that we're working with today. So we'll talk a little bit more about this one towards the end.
Yeah, and if you happen to remember the slide that Wayne showed about the biggest areas of need for Southern Tier region, there were 3 or 4 positions, including number 1 around that production associate, that this this curriculum track of 25 courses would be appropriate. So this is what I call, this is one of my favorite slides. This is I call it my Shark Tank slide. Because Shark Tank is one of my favorite shows to watch on Friday and Saturday night. And usually the person presenting is always asked the question by one of the sharks, usually Mr. Wonderful. It goes something like this. Tell me what's different about your organization compared to your competitors. So this is my answer to that. Number one is we have industry-driven content. So I mentioned those 25 designers, developers we have on staff. They may not be experts, in areas like robotics and additive manufacturing, but they're experts in designing and developing content. We hire subject matter experts to provide feedback and guidance along the entire development process. A lot of folks don't know this, but to design a 1-hour engaging course in our world, if everything goes well, it's about a 3 to 3.5 month process. And so we pay subject matter experts to provide that guidance and check-ins along the way so that we know we're getting things right. And then we're not perfect. As soon as we release a course, we're always looking for feedback to make adjustments. But what you can feel good about is that every single one of our courses are driven by industry. That's number one. Number two is our learning management system. So we just don't, give your employees a username, password, and say good luck. We have a whole mechanism in support on how we can roll courses out and give you guys the access you need on the back end to get what you want out of the implementation, be able to manage it the way that you want to manage it. So we feel we have a strong LMS. We don't charge extra for our LMS. We charge per person based on subscription. And the LMS just comes along with it. And this is if you have one employee that's in our system or 1,000, you're going to get the same level of access to our LMS. Number three is our mobile access. So if you employ millennials and younger, this is a game changer because most of these folks will prefer to take these courses on their smartphone. And so you're able to do that with our course. And we released that about 2 years ago. And we've heard from our clients that this is a game changer for employees, specifically your younger folks. And I suspect many of you have millennials and younger that are working for you today. And last but not least is our client success management team. So every single one of you are going to be assigned, not only are you going to get support from AMT, you're going to get support from us on helping you learn how to use our system on the back end. We're going to get a feel for what you're interested in doing on your own versus what you would like ongoing support. So it could be as simple as telling us you want quarterly reports around your organization and we send that to you. Or if it's showing you how to do things on the back end of the system, like create custom groups or custom programs yourself. Or we can create the custom programs for you. So it's our job to really figure out what you want to do versus how much support you need from us.
Thank you so much, Greg. That was wonderful.
I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Carol now to talk a little bit about pricing and call to action. And I'm going to be around to answer any questions that you may have from now until we're done here today.
And I would open it up for any questions that we have to so far. You all have permission to unmute yourself. And if you have any questions, or you can put it in the chat, either or. I'll give folks some time to see if they have any questions, or not. We will move forward with the subscription and support conversation. I don't see anybody taking their mute off. So Bob, is that Bob? I would have been shocked if you didn't have something to say. So please, sir, how can I help you?
No, it is I guess the question is, it's just trying to figure out. So the SME is providing online courses that are we, as far as subscription, is that something that AMT subscribes to? Or is that like individual companies, or in my case, let's say Workforce New York would?
You could come to AM&T and we will subscribe for you.
Mhm.
And we can then support the content in a customized way. So, and I don't want to steal Wayne's thunder, and I'm hoping he got back in because he had to drop out because he was having.
No, I'm here. You're doing fine. So
All right.
keep the
So, but
conversation going.
yeah, no, this is wonderful because it's a good question, because the online content is wonderful. In fact, many of us at AM&T have done dozens of the classes, you know, because it was part of feeling like this was a good fit for us as an organization. But we've also learned that they need to be augmented with instructor-led content. And sometimes that instructor-led content can come within the organization because you have that bench strength. And sometimes that has to come from outside of the organization. And that's where we come into play, because we have instructor-led, whether that's with a direct AM&T employee or whether that's with one of our third-party partners. As an example, the 25 classes that are in the Certified Manufacturing Associate, we anticipate that plus or minus half of them will be also instructor-led, because it's hard to learn about CNC machines on just a 1 hour class, right? Like, so we want to augment that with instructor-led component, and you'll see that on there with program design and with the monitoring and support where people can't address it.
Right. So I think you anticipated my question, which was, it's hard to do welding on virtually. So I'm assuming there's also, let's say, a welding course at like BOCES, or at that you would perhaps tie into, whether it's BOCES or SUNY Broom or something like that.
Correct. And that'll vary by region, and that'll vary by customer client need. In fact, we have one of our providers on the call with us on the webinar now, is Steve Palmatier, will be doing some of the instructor-led training, as well as Wayne will be doing that too.
And so, and is there how, like, does that fit in? So I guess like with, like, let's say BOCES or there, so, or anyone, I guess like Steve would be another entity. It wouldn't have to be an entity, it could be an individual craftsman or technologist, whatever you would call it.
Correct. And that's very much going to be customized for the individual company, because some companies have that internal capabilities and some companies do not. So we'll be providing that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Bob. I would have been disappointed if you didn't have a question. I would have thought you were doing other things.
And I'll come in just for a second, because my experience using Tooling U, both within companies in the blended learning model, but also in a group that the Department of Labor referred to as frequent flyers, people who get a job, lose a job, get a job, lose a job, and you're trying to give them some stability. The frequent flyers I address at a local college. The people working for a company I address at the company site, because of the transportation issues that we have in upstate New York, right? It's hard to get somebody to come from a plant in Oneonta to the BOCES that's 40 minutes away, turn around and then drive an hour back home. So there's a lot of ways, Carol, I think that we can, or all of you, that I think we can model this to serve different groups' needs. So,
definitely. Right. That's why we're so excited. It's so needed. And I love the online element of it and augmenting it in a customized way. So I'm going to turn it over to Wayne, and Wayne, I apologize. So please continue on.
This is the perfect segue, Bob. I really appreciate you jumping in and wading into the conversation. So the word we've heard a lot so far is custom and customized. And that's what this is all about. AM&T is going to be there to help you develop the program that makes sense for your organization and roll it out in a way that makes sense for you. Not more, not less. So you're looking at the screen now, you're looking at individual subscriptions. These are some of the shorter duration, smaller packages for some of the less populous groups out there. As Greg talked about, it's the Tooling U-SME subscriptions, the individual start and end dates. So you can have individuals in your group that start at different times and finish at different times. And that has a lot of value if you're buying 90-day packages. As he said, you have access to the Tooling U learning management system. And then once again, AMT, I didn't say and, AMT is going to customize your training program for you. We're going to sit down with you and do that needs analysis and see, as Carol said, do you have those internal resources that you can do add on your own instructor-led element to some of the online trainings, maybe in safety, maybe in quality, or maybe in the maintenance or mechatronics. We'll help you with the program design, and we will also help you with the monitoring support. We will help you from the administrative side of it. And very importantly, grants are available to support the training programs. So this is one of the reasons why you should reach out to Jeff DeBrava, who couldn't be with us today, and talk to him about what grants are available and are they fit for your organization.
And that's another place where it's going to depend on who you're training, where you're located, and what the options are. But there are, in every town and county, there are at least 2 options as it relates to training grants.
And then a part 2 of this is the annual site licenses. This probably will make more sense for the larger organizations, especially if you're over 500 people. Obviously, there's a break point there, and many of the same rules apply. The tooling, you have access to the Tooling U-SME subscriptions. You have it's a little different. There's a shared start and end date for all users. You have access to the Tooling U learning management system. There are some third-party integration options, and to be eligible for this pricing, you have to have a minimum of 50 users. And once again, this part is redundant. AMT will support you with instructor-led. We will support you with program design, and we will support you with monitoring support. So if you want AMT to create your groups, manage your groups, create your reports, send them to you monthly, we can do that for you. And grants are available for this for the annual site licenses also. So next steps, here's the big launching pad. You'll need to reach out to Jeff DeBrava. His information is here. It'll be on the next slide also. And Greg can set you up with some online courses for a 2-week trial at no cost to you, and let you check it out. If you look over to the right of this slide, AMT, we have 5 prepackaged off-the-shelf programs. They can be customized or they can be embraced in total. They include Industry 4.0, some compliance around safety in the OSHA 10, a wonderful program around leadership, which would be great for new managers or any group that has supervisors, new supervisors that need those soft skill development opportunities. Mechatronics and maintenance, and then as we talked about, the certified manufacturing associate. And then there's all kinds of add-ons. There's technical programs around composites, forming, fabricating, stamping, machining, plastics processing, welding. As Greg touched on earlier, there is a multitude of classes and courses that are available, and there are new ones being added. I can honestly say, after several decades in training and development, this is probably one of the more complete programs I've ever reviewed and been a part of. Next slide.
I'm going to go to our website because,
Okay.
and I'd like to use the, so here are the 5 featured programs that Wayne talked to. You can get there via the services and workforce development and then online training. And this is what will come up. And these are the 5 featured programs. Any of these can be customized, as well as the 5 technical programs that we're starting with that can also be customized. We feel pretty strongly about the Certified Manufacturing Associate. I would like to ensure first that you're seeing my screen because I'm switching. Do you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, so here is, I'm going to go back slightly. Sorry, I've been going back and forth between Teams and Zoom, and this has not been easy. So here is the website. Can you see my screen? Yes? Excellent. Thank you for that. So it's under services, workforce development, and then you'll see online training after you go there, and that will bring you here. And these are the 5 featured programs that are customizable, as I said, as well as the 5 technical programs. We will and are able to provide all 500 of the SME Tooling U classes, but we felt like this was a great place to start based on our knowledge and the work that we've done with manufacturers in the region. And in the topics we thought that were the most relevant at this point, but they are all customizable, and we can put together any type of package that would make sense for any individual company. The one that we are most interested in, where we think there's a big opportunity, is the one we've talked about already, which is the, can you see my screen? All right, excellent. Thank you, sir. Certified Manufacturing Associate. And what this does is it shows, you know, what the program includes, what the short term is, and then it also details out every one of the classes. And we just think it's a great starter program. It's a great way to baseline folks that are currently employed, as well as a great way of bringing in new employees. And just to give a perspective of how this can range, I'm going to ask Wayne if he can tell us a little bit about what that would look like if you just did online versus, because this is a perfect 90-day program, you know, 90-day subscription. So Wayne.
Yeah, so back to the customization. If you opt in and go with some 90-day options, you can do this for as little. If you are a partner, an AMT partner, it can be as little as a couple $100, a little more than a couple $100 for 90 days. But it can be customized depending on if you want to add, take away instructor-led courses. You can add to and take away and develop something up to, in 90 days, up to $800 per employee. So once again, this highly customizable based on your needs, on your program design, how you want to roll it out, your delivery methods. We can really tailor this to your organization with the ultimate level of success and sustainability, and tailor a program that works for everyone, depending on, it doesn't matter how big your group is, how big your finance bucket is, we can come up with something that makes sense for you.
Hey, Wayne, being that I'm a little poor and ADD, is the small numbers on the side, is that the number of hours per course or what?
Thank you for asking. That's the course number. It's
course number,
each course is 1 hour,
Is 1 hour,
online, but has the customized place of instructor led. We're anticipating approximately an hour and a half for each instructor led class, but that will also vary based on topic.
Okay, and then the idea is that that'd be an hour during like regular work hours, or?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's something that we can help you design. You know, we know that challenge is getting people off the line or off the production floor to do training. So that's up to you. If you want to do it during work hours, if you want to do it after work hours, what is most effective for you. So that's part of the design and development part of the program.
I can see it doing outside of work hours as being really beneficial as a tool, because it'd be a lot easier to do that than trying to get a bunch of professors ready at at a particular place. But
yeah, hey, if I can mention what I'm seeing a lot of out there right now is because let's face it, if you're struggling to hire production associates, you probably don't want to minimize the time you're pulling them off the production line, right? And I see a lot of manufacturers put incentive programs in here. For example, if you can finish these 25 courses in your first 60 days, you get a $50 gas card. And if you do things like that, you're going to see that a lot of your staff will do things on their own on the weekends outside of work time. That being said, giving them an hour or two a week dedicated to these, to take this training is also a great thing too. And there's nothing holding you back from doing both.
One of the things I love about this, the Certified Manufacturing Associate as well, is SME is offering it. You can take a a certification test that has it's a fairly new program. It's only a couple years old, but it will have nationwide recognition, name recognition for having been through this material, and very transferable from organization to organization. So I know we're focused on the company itself, but I think there's also a value to the individual that it's a win-win scenario, which I always think is to everyone's advantage.
Yeah, and Greg is, I appreciate, Greg, your input on tying this to rewards. You know, if at some point during the you do the analysis, the needs analysis, and the design and development, and you want to tie this to performance somehow or objective setting, there are all kinds of ways to be super creative with this, to embed it into your organization to make sure it becomes part of the culture and that it's not lost after 90 days. It can be developed to be a path forward for a long time.
I've also shared another one of the 5 featured programs, which is the Mechatronics program. Mechatronics maintenance, it's kind of new language for maintenance. Can everyone see my screen? Just checking, thank you. And here's an example of one of the other things that I really love about the Tooling U perspective, is that it's starting out and it shows a pathway. It's saying these are the content for Mechatronics fundamentals, and it can go down either an electrical path or a maintenance path. To electrical, it can go either to an automation or electrical technician, and maintenance can go to a fluid systems technician. And what you see here is the mechatronic fundamentals. Here are the content for the mechatronic fundamentals. Here are the content for the electrical production. So you can kind of build a pathway for your employees when you're trying to upskill them, or you know, create a plan, a development plan. It's already been laid out in a way that is a place to start. It's probably not the place to finish, but it's a place to start, and it builds on each other, and it can help companies get there quicker, more effectively and quicker. So all of those are at our website. Also, I'll just highlight the leadership one as well, which is another, I think, great program. So it's a combination of classes, things that, you know, best practices, conflict resolution, all of those things that we talk about that we need to have our first line supervisors as well as managers have more effectiveness and more proficiency with. So I will go back to the presentation, and we are open for questions. And I'm actually going to stop the presentation.
Yeah, if I can add, and the only thing I would encourage you all to do if you have some level of interest is to this is kind of a try before you buy kind of product. And we just encourage you to maybe, you know, select a handful of courses that you know you're going to have some level of interest in. And we'll just set you up with a trial account. It's not going to cost you anything. We'll let you just kick the tires for a little while. And if you want to share this with a couple of supervisors, go ahead and share the username, password that we'll set up. We want to make sure that it's working for you before you commit to anything.
Correct. And yeah, thank you, Greg. And I think that's that's what we did initially when we had our meetings, was we all got trial accounts and we tried it out. Amanda, who's fairly new with our organization, is leading up our Industry 4.0, and she's gone through much of the content related to that. And we hope that we can be using that in a more comprehensive way in the near future as well. It's a great place to start with building the expertise within organizations. So I highly recommend that folks do that. I did put Jeff's email in the chat as well as my own. I will ask if, and there's Bob's. Bob would love to help anybody. Bob Murphy, if anybody doesn't know Bob Murphy, he's with the Broome Tioga Workforce, an all around great guy and super helpful, and one of the potential grant funders. No, Bob. Great. Anybody's welcome to take their mute off. Okay, so please feel free to reach out. Most of you, we know, we've worked with, we have a great relationship with. We're so happy to be able to bring this to the market because we really do feel like it fills a need. Steve, thank you, Steve Palmatier. I was looking at the comments. He'd be happy to help with this as well. So please contact us after the session if you have any questions, or if you'd like to try the trial account, or set up a call with Jeff and Wayne or myself to discuss your specific needs. I'd like to thank Greg so much from Tooling U. It's been a pleasure to work with you during this process, and also for Wayne for providing an informative session today in our webinar. You will receive a email with a link to the recording, and we can count the number of times we either put an ampersand in or left an ampersand out or realized we had done it, because that's hard. I'm like stuck tripping over my words all day today around that ampersand, unfortunately, but it is what it is. The link will also be on our website. I'd like to make folks aware too, we'll be starting a 6-part HR human resource training and education series starting in January. It's a no-cost session. We'll be doing once a month. The first month, it's about creating a human resource strategic plan that aligns with your business plan. It is so important these days, you know, with the workforce shortage or the workforce issues that we're having right now, is that you have a strategy on how to improve that and take control over the things you can take control over. There's much that you can't, but there is some that you can. Included in that will be discussions of attraction and retention, workforce training and development, compensation and benefits, employee and labor relations, and safety and risk management. And Wayne will be leading that, and we'll be putting some information out starting next week about the series. Especially for those companies, and not unlike ourselves, which have a person that does part-time HR as well as our finances and any other thing that is asked of her. This is the type of content that we want to put out to help build HR kind of competency beyond just keeping organizations legal, and really taking advantage of some of the things today and some of the things we need to learn to be more effective. And Wayne, I don't know if you want to add anything about that session, but we're looking forward to that.
It's going to be highly interactive, and we're really going to gear it towards the Southern tier. So if you participate, just become ready to have discussions and bring your questions. And we will do some deep dives into what resources are out there and how we can make life better for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we definitely recognize it as the single most biggest issue out in industry today is, and we want to try to help resolve those issues. So please take advantage of us as an organization. We're here to help, and I hope that we hear from folks about trial accounts very soon. It's great. You can do it on your phone. We all have the app on our phone now, and we can share that with others, as well as it's stuff you can do while you're waiting for your car to get repaired even. So thank you again. I appreciate you joining us today, and be safe. And if anybody wants to hang around and ask any questions, that's fine too. So thank you again.